What is up, guys? Python here, back with another video, and it has been a while since I have uploaded, but we are here doing my NHL playoff predictions for the 2021 Stanley Cup playoffs. Last year, that video is now down. I ended up privating like all my videos from over the past years or so, but I didn't do that terrible last year. It could have been better. I ended up having the Flyers win the cup, I believe, but I think I didn't do as bad as I could have with those playoff predictions. So this year I'm hoping for a little bit better, because I still could improve. This year we're going to be a little crazy with the picks because there's always a lot of surprises in this league, and this is going to be the hardest playoffs to predict, in my opinion. And before anyone does comment, by the way, about my predictions, telling me how wrong I am and telling me that their team is going to win the Stanley Cup or anything, at the end of the day, it's my predictions, and I'd love to hear yours. So comment them down below. And yeah, like I said, end of the day, it's predictions. We're just here having fun. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, then cool. I get some money, I guess. But that's really about it. With this, we're just having fun with it. And let's just jump into it. So we're going to go with the North Division first, since they're here at the top left. Toronto and Montreal. I have the generic pick. I have Toronto winning this series, and I'm going to have that in 5 games, that series. I think that I don't really see Montreal having a chance. You just look at the goaltending matchup. Jack Campbell, he's a little bit, you don't know what you're going to get. He's kind of a wild card going into this playoffs, in my opinion, at least. I know during the regular season he's been insane, but there was a little bit of a rough patch at some point, and who knows if that's going to happen in this in the playoffs here. So he's a little bit of a wild card, which kind of is why I picked Montreal winning 1 game. And I just think Montreal, Carey Price, you're going to have to rely on him standing on his head like he kind of did last year, and kind of bailed them out. He had, and that's how they ended up being the Penguins last year. You had Carey Price bail him out. He's going to have to step up big time because he was awful during the regular season. He's going to need to step up if Montreal even wants a fighting chance in the series. I just think Toronto, you look at the depth that they added at the deadline with guys like Nick Foligno being brought into the mix this past offseason, bringing in a guy like Wayne Simmons, just to add more of that grit game. You have every single line for the Leafs. They have that one pain in the ass on their team that's going to be difficult for the opposing team to deal with. And I just think that that's useful in the playoffs, and Toronto is going to end up winning that series. This one with Edmonton and Winnipeg, this could go one of 2 ways. This could go Hellebuck absolutely stands on his head completely and bails them out of a series, kind of like with the Canadians, what they would need with Carey Price, or Edmonton would, or they need slower production from McDavid, and they need to shut him down. But I think this is Edmonton's series. I think this goes 6 games. Just so you look at how Mike Smith has played this year, he has just been what a story it is with him. Completely different goaltender than we've seen in the past with Mike Smith. Although the only thing, like I said, is if McDavid does end up getting shut down, same with Draisaitl, if the 2 of them get shut down, it's going to be difficult. But Winnipeg doesn't really have that big time defender to help shut either one of them down. They don't really have that big guy on defense. And then you look at their forward group even to help shut those guys down. You have Pierre-Luc Dubois is probably going to be the guy that's looked at to help be out there to shut him down, because you're not going to throw guys like Scheifele, Wheeler, Connor out there against guys like McDavid, because they're going to be the guys that are more the skilled forwards that you want out there producing offensively. So I think that Edmonton takes this game or takes a series in 6. Colorado and St. Louis, this one's an easy pick to me, and I honestly, it would be generous for me to give a game, but I think this is a sweep. Just the way Colorado has been all season long, especially while healthy. Grubauer, that was the reason why they ended up not winning last year, in my opinion. If they had a healthy goaltender, if they didn't have to start Michael Hutchinson last year, I think that they would have been the clear-cut cup winners. But the only thing that was stopping them was that they have Grubauer. St. Louis, Binnington has just not been the greatest goaltender. You have guys on the blue line like Krug and Falk who have been pretty good this year, specifically Falk more than Krug. but I just don't think it's going to be enough to stop down that shut down. That's what I meant to say. Jeez, shut down that heavy offensive team with the Colorado Avalanche, and then even on the blue line with the Avalanche, Cale Makar, Devon Toews, you have guys like that leading your blue line. You have depth with Timmins, Byram. I don't know if Johnson's going to be there or not. I don't even know if I haven't paid attention if he's been in the lineup at all, but you have some insane blue line depth there with the Avalanche, and then forward depth also. Even you have Kadri down the middle as well. You have plenty of guys you can rely on in that forward group to help get it done. Vegas and Minnesota, this one, I was flip-flopping a little, but then it kind of hit me that it's hard to pick against Vegas. I'm going to go 6 games with this, though. I think Vegas wins this because of the fact you look at who Minnesota's relying on for their offense. They're relying on Kaprizov, who just does not have any playoff experience. They do have some of that playoff experience in their lineup with guys like Matt Zuccarello. You have guys that have been there like Spurgeon before. You have Parise also, who knows a thing or two about deep playoff runs. But at the end of the day, even in goal, it's going to be Cam Talbot probably versus Fleury, and I just don't see how Talbot is the better guy in that series. And then blue line wise, Vegas is just better. You have Pietrangelo, you have Theodore back there. You have just great players back there on that blue line, and it's just hard for me to pick Minnesota over them, especially with that offense. When you compare the offense, Vegas is just superior there. The Penguins and the Islanders. This one's a little tricky because the Penguins have been playing really well lately. The Islanders have been cold. However, the playoffs are a clean slate, and I'm going to be picking the New York Islanders to win this, and I'm going to pick 6 games for this series. And the reason I have them winning is because when you compare goaltending, which goaltending I really rely on heavily in the playoffs because that's what got the Islanders to the conference finals last year, was their goaltending. Varlamov was just completely different last year and was just a beast in net for them, and I think he's going to do the same thing this year, especially compared to Tristan Jarry, and then you have Casey DeSmith in net for the Penguins. That just does not hold up to the Islanders' goaltending with Semyon Varlamov, and I just think that the Islanders are going to take the series. As a Ranger fan, I wouldn't want either team winning the series, but I'd rather Pittsburgh, obviously, so I'd hope I'm wrong there. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Islanders win this series like I have them doing. Boston and Washington. This is probably, you know what? This is definitely the toughest series to predict out of all of them. I know I keep saying some of them are tricky, but this one's the most difficult because you have Washington, who, what are you going to get in goal from them? Is it Vanacek? Is it Samsonov? I don't even know. What are you going to get in goal from them? Their blue line, how's that going to be? Is their offense going to be good enough against that Boston team? Boston, you have them. What are you going to get from Tuukka Rask? Is he going to turn back the clock and be the same goalie that we've seen him be in the past? Or is he going to be that average goaltender that he's been all year? Personally, I think that the Taylor Hall edition has just made Boston just a different team, and I have Boston winning that series. That one's going the distance to 7 games, in my opinion. And I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Washington won it, but I think that Boston's going to get the slight edge in that one, and I'm going to have them win that series. Carolina and Nashville. This one, I have Carolina winning pretty easily. I don't think I have to explain here. I'm going to go 6 games with this because there's always that series where it's like, yeah, this team should definitely win the series, but then it ends up going a little bit further than you expect. So I have 6 games for that. I think that Carolina, if they're going to win it any year, this is the year they're going to win it because you have an easy first round win, in my opinion. Then the second round is going to be a little bit tougher. After that, I'll have to see what the bracket's looking like for myself by then. But I think that Carolina, just well-coached team. You have, obviously, up on that offense, you have Aho, you have Svechnikov, Teravainen on the blue, and then they add depth up there with guys like Jesper Foss this offseason on the blue line. Do I even have to mention it? Pesci, Hamilton, of course. You have Slavin back there. Brady Shea, I guess, if you want to throw his name out there. But that blue line is just absolutely insane. So I have them winning that series in 6 games. Panthers and Lightning. As much as I want to go with the fun pick and pick the Panthers, it's just I got to go I got to go with the Lightning. I'm going to go 6 games with this one as well. I got to go with the Lightning because it's hard to bet against a team that's already was good enough and has a Vezina goal in Vasilevsky. It's hard to pick them when they're going to be adding back Stamkos and Kucherov with the production they had this regular season. It's just hard to bet against that, especially against a Florida team that just, in my opinion, is just not good enough on the blue line to be shutting that Tampa Bay team down. And especially with the loss of Ekblad, who's not going to return at all, I think that Tampa Bay takes that series. As much as, like I said, it'd be fun to pick Florida. The only chance really the Panthers might have is if they do the smart move and start Driedger or Spencer Knight over Bobrovsky. Do not let Bobrovsky in net just because he's making $10 million a year. Do what you got to do to win. Give Driedger or Spencer Knight the nod. In my opinion, that's what they should do. But they're probably going to start Bobrovsky. I haven't even seen who they're going to start, but I'd imagine they go with Bobrovsky just because of the money he's making. Toronto and Edmonton. This one, I have Toronto winning. I think that Toronto's defense is just far better than Winnipeg's. So they're going to be able to shut down that Edmonton team, specifically McDavid and Draisaitl. That's who they really need to shut down. And I just think with that pain-in-the-ass style hockey that they've added this year, like I mentioned, I think it's going to be tough on guys like McDavid and Draisaitl to produce offensively. Plus, the blue line, adding TJ Brody has been just a huge change versus having Tyson Barrie back there, which, fun enough, Toronto's probably going to get the torch during that playoff series. But I do have Toronto winning that series. And I'm not going to pick the amount of games because I don't have to with that. Colorado and Vegas, this is definitely... If this series happens, this is must-watch hockey. This is must-watch hockey no matter what team you root for. And for me, I'm going to go with the Avalanche because of the fact that, like I mentioned, they win the cup last year if Grubauer's healthy. Grubauer is on another level this year also. Fleury, I know he's in the Vezina conversation, but you compare the blue lines, I think the Avalanche get the nod there. You have a Norris defenseman back there on the blue line with Makar. Well, he hasn't won one, but you know what I mean. He's going to be in the conversation. He's probably going to be a finalist along with Adam Fox and Victor Hedman this offseason during the NHL awards. I'm going to give that to the Avalanche. I think their blue line's better, and I think offensively they're better as well. So I'd say they're pretty split even on the blue line more, but I'd give the slight edge to the Avalanche, and then the Avalanche's offense, in my opinion, superior. The Islanders and Bruins, I think the Bruins are going to win this series. I think the Bruins have just showed since they got Taylor Hall that they are a team that they're not a team to mess with. They're not a team to just sweep under the rug and just think of them as nothing just because they're the number 3 seed. Do not sleep on the Bruins this playoffs. I think that they're going to make some noise, and they always do either way. The Bruins always do either way. Carolina and Tampa Bay, I have Carolina win the series because, like I mentioned, with when it came to blue lines and all of that stuff, when it came to that, Carolina's blue line, in my opinion, is really the best bet aside from Colorado at shutting down that Tampa Bay offense. And I think that Carolina, Nedeljkovic, if he ends up being the starter, it's going to be a great story. I think he's going to... Sorry, I'm choking a little here. But I think he's going to end up bailing them out of that series, and I think that they end up winning that game. That series is probably going to go to 7, but I think that Carolina is going to win that series against Tampa Bay, if it happens, of course. This is where things get really tricky for me. I've been going back and forth all day of what to do here. As much as I want to pick the Avalanche going to the Cup, I think I got to go Boston because, like I've mentioned, they're going to be a pain all year. And also, there's always upsets with the top team where the Colorado Avalanche are that top team. Sometimes, though, like last year at the Tampa Bay Lightning, the top team is the team that you should end up picking, and sometimes you overthink with predictions like this. But I want to have a little bit of fun with it. I'm going to go with the Boston Bruins winning, or not winning the Cup, but going to the Cup. I don't think they beat either one of the teams that are on the other side, so that's a little spoiler, I guess, for who I have out of this series, depending. And this one's still tough for me to decide because you look in goal. Nedeljkovic, Campbell, pretty even there. The defense, Carolina definitely gets the nod. Offense, you give the nod to Toronto. It's going to be a really tough. This is the toughest series that I'm predicting here, in terms of the fact that just from a fact that like for what I have is what I mean. Not out of like any series that's guaranteed. This is the toughest series for my bracket, because not everyone's going to have this series, of course, happening. Do we go? It's a question of, do we go with that fun little fact that whenever Toronto and Montreal play each other, the winner of that series ends up winning the Stanley Cup? Do we have fun with that pick? Or do I go with Carolina? I think I'm going to go with the... I'm going to go with the Canes. I want to pick Toronto, but I'm going to go with the Canes. Although Toronto and Boston in the Cup final, how bad would that be for Leaf fans? Although Carolina has had some struggles against Boston, but I think that they get it done, and I think they win the Stanley Cup in 2021, beating the Boston Bruins. I wouldn't be surprised if any of these Final Four teams win the Stanley Cup. I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas wins the Stanley Cup. I wouldn't be surprised if Washington wins the Cup. This is the hardest year to predict, in my opinion, and that's what we love about hockey, though, at the same time. The parity and how unpredictable it is. So that is my Stanley Cup prediction. Let me know your predictions down in the comments below, like I mentioned. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new. Other than that, it's been Python. I'm out. Peace.